after the bomb hit and the fire and we were burned, it was just survival, self-preservation.
December 7th, an infamous day in history. 73 years ago today, the American fleet was attacked by Japanese forces at Pearl Harbor, plunging the United States into World War II.
It also marks the end of the USS Arizona Survivors Association that has honored the lives lost in the attack for nearly 4 decades. The 334 men who somehow survived vowed never to forget their lost shipmates. But one by one, they've fallen to the enemy they couldn't defeat: time. It was a horrific surprise attack that nearly wiped out America's ability to fight on the sea.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
21 ships sunk or damaged. The USS Arizona suffering the biggest loss of life. 1,177 crew members perished. Don Stratton was on board that day in 1941 and remembers like it was yesterday.
One of the planes made a loop and we could see the meatball on the wings there, and I knew it was the Japanese right away, and I started for my battle station, which was one deck above the bridge. And we were being strafed and dive bombed and everything else. And of course the big bomb hit and 1,000,000 pounds of ammunition exploded. The fireball went about 800 feet in the air and just engulfed us up there, and we all got burned and whatever. And after the bomb hit and the fire and we were burned, it was just survival, self-preservation.
Luckily for Don Stratton, a repair ship, the USS Vestal, was tied alongside the Arizona when the attack happened.
We spotted a sailor on the Vestal by the name of Joe George. I found out later his name. He threw us a heaving line and we tied on a heavier line, and we pulled it across and tied it up on the Arizona. And we went hand over hand across to the Vestal.
Stratton was burned over 70% of his body. He spent a year in the hospital. Incredibly, once he healed, he re-enlisted and went back into combat on a destroyer in the Pacific. Despite more close calls, he made it home again for good in 1945.
You have kind of a feeling in your heart that maybe that you were spared for some reason, and you have to pay homage to the guys that sacrificed their lives that day.
And Don Stratton has done just that as a member of the USS Arizona Reunion Association. The group has traveled to the memorial in Hawaii every 5 years, but many gatherings have taken place here in Tucson, where the group was founded in 1978. Each reunion, the numbers declined. These American heroes dying off.
Last year we had 35 people, and that's when the decision was made that the Hawaii reunion this year would be the last hurrah, and we would disband.
Ruth Campbell has been the coordinator for the USS Arizona Reunion Association for more than 20 years. She says only 9 survivors are now left, just 4 are able to make this last trek. She fears once they're gone, the next generation will soon forget what the greatest generation sacrificed so much for.
I think our children need to be more aware. Remember how many people died for our freedom, for the liberty we have. They don't know what they could lose.
On this, the 73rd anniversary of the attack, the 4 survivors were on the deck of the USS Arizona Memorial today. Divers put a bottle of champagne into turret number 4, where 38 other survivors had their remains interned. A final toast to their shipmates at the last reunion.
And Governor Jan Brewer traveled